Now, President Akufo-Addo is likely to be retained as president by a majority of Ghanaians if elections were organized today. Most Ghanaians, according to a survey carried out by the University of Ghana's Political Science Department, would also want former President John Dramani Mahama to contest as opposition NDC's candidate come 2020. The study also lists the free SHS and the fight against galamsey as top government policies respondents describe as impressive. There is more in the following report by Joseph Akable.
The same Political Science Department in 2016 called the elections in favor of President Akufo-Addo. The December 2017 survey, according to the department, is a follow-up to check whether the perception of voters had changed. Researchers say 5,000 persons participated across 250 electoral areas in 50 constituencies in all 10 regions. Presenting the findings of the survey at a symposium on Wednesday, head of the Political Science Department, Dr. Bosman Asari, stated that majority of those engaged indicated their preference for the governing party.
The government's popularity is almost 62.1% at the 50% level. And I know some of you understand the statistics. But what this actually means is that the government, the popularity is okay, but it can be better than that. So that should tell you that maybe there are still some issues Ghanaians want the government to address. But if your popularity rate is 62%, I think it's quite significant.
Respondents, he says, were also asked to rank government's policies.
We have the free senior high school, the fight against galamsey, illegal mining, restoration of teachers' nurses allowance, revival of national identification, planting for food and jobs. So we can see that once governments are working, governments are getting things done, citizens also appreciate. But of all this, the most popular policy has to do with the free senior high school project. Many voters indicated that they thought it was a very, very good thing, and they really identified with it, followed by the fight against galamsey, restoration of teachers' allowance, and others, the NHIS. Although the NHIS, for example, is not so perfect, we heard the voters were making very clear that they thought that it had seen some revival.
Sectors such as the economy, living conditions, and unemployment were areas the governing party scored low marks, with a good number of respondents saying not much change had taken place. With regards to the opposition political parties, the NDC emerged the best performing party. 58% of the respondents also named former President John Mahama as their preferred choice for the NDC flag bearer slot.
Overwhelmingly, 58% of the people we interviewed said they believe Mr. Mahama will become the candidate. And a number of them, generally, they said they wanted Mr. Mahama to come. And if that should happen, what that means is that, and when you look at, we have the graph, when you look at it, it's like some people are getting 2%. We know so far people who have made their intentions clear. Mr. Sylvester Mensah, Professor Joshua Alabi, the Cape Coast South MP was Ricky Sagan has made it clear, Spiogabra. I think all of them are getting less than 7%. Some are even getting, so generally we were surprised. So that means there's a popular endorsement for Mr. Mahama. And if that happens, Ghanaians will, for the first time, have two candidates from the two major political parties who were once presidents. And they will be going at each other. And I believe that will probably be the final bout for each of them. Once you don't win, that will come to an end.
The department is expected to carry out other studies on governance-related issues later in the year.
The opposition NDC has meanwhile welcomed the results of the survey, though with some skepticism about the period within which the research was conducted. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Kokwa Nyudeho, says a lot of water has passed under the bridge since the researchers collected the data, but times have changed and results cannot be an accurate representation of what can happen in 2020. He was speaking earlier on the polls when he also requested for details of the survey from the researchers. Before then, though, one of the researchers, Dr. Isaac Osu-Mensah, has been giving a breakdown of the 50 constituencies they sampled and the motive for the survey.
So if they want, we can give them more information about what we have. Okay. But so we have a lot of detailed information, constituency based, even to electoral area. we are prepared to give it to them for free. Number of factors went into the choosing of the respondents. We interviewed people from 50 constituencies across the country.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why some constituencies were selected and some were not selected is that we want to look at constituencies that had to do with the regional reorganization, because we had a question on regional reorganization. So we want to have a glimpse about if there's going to be a plebiscite or a referendum, what is going to be the outcome, number one. We also look at constituencies that are traditionally NDC but voted for NPP in the 2016. Are those people still going to vote for NPP? Basically, we had 50 constituencies, 18 were NDC traditional areas, 14 were NPP traditional areas, 3 were what we call bellwether constituency that every president has won in the Fourth Republic. And one is Kwale Klote, Ablekuma Central, and Krowo. These 3 constituencies were added. The 15 swing constituencies. We decided to find out there's a lot of discussions about a number of programs that is being rolled out by the government, whether it's good, it's bad. So we decided to find, for example, free stages. There's so much talk about it. Illegal mining, what we call
illegal,
galamsey. There's a lot of talk about it. There's a lot of talk about the office of the special prosecutor. What do we think about it as people of Ghana?
Okay.
So these are some of the reasons why we decided to go to the floor to talk to people.
Deputy NDC General Secretary Kokwani Deho now speaks about why they're skeptical about the research.
I am interested, and I'll make contact. I think I want to look at it. It helps. It's possible that people will still, in the first year, want to hang on to some thread of hope. We are in the second year now, and don't forget the elections is in 2020. So we are not going to, as it were, spit on their survey, where I don't doubt their intellectual acumen, their intellectuals and professors and PhD holders in their own right. So yes, they've done some survey. We thank them for the survey they have done. But like I'm saying, that was last year. We moved on to 2018. The configuration has changed in terms of what it is that Ghanaians are expecting of and from the Akufo-Addo administration. Like I'm saying, they will enjoy some academic immunity. They are in an academic environment. They are allowed to do all kinds of things they want to do. It helps them. They are lecturers. They have to teach students how to do polling. They have to talk about margin of errors. They have to be seen to be in the field, to be doing some work to bring relevance to their teaching profession. Let them go ahead and do it. We appreciate it. We'll look at it, but that's not what's going to deter us. We believe that once we get our act together and we do what we ought to do, Nana Akufo-Addo is a one-term president.
In other news, the board of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has asked management of the state broadcaster to abandon plans to prosecute owners of television sets who default on the payment of their TV licenses. The state broadcaster at the beginning of the year announced the establishment of specialized courts that could hand down fines and jail terms for defaulters, a move which caused public uproar, with many calling into question GBC's record as far as public broadcasting is concerned and the guarantee that anything will change once they get assured funding they were demanding. A statement signed by the chairman of the governing board of GBC said the decision to no longer prosecute defaulters was taken at an emergency meeting on Wednesday, January 10, 2018. And it reads, at an emergency meeting of the governing board of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation on the 10th of January, 2018, the board was apprised of the challenges that had come in the wake of the implementation of the television license fee. The board also noted the outcry, anxieties and apprehensions expressed by the public with respect to possible prosecution for non-payment. The board, following an evaluation of the situation, has instructed the management of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation not to pursue any activity or set of processes leading to the prosecution of any individual for non-payment of the television license fee. The governing board is assuring the general public not to entertain any fear of any such possible prosecutions. With respect to the future of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, the board recommends that the National Media Commission drives the processes of engaging critical stakeholders to resolve the status of GBC and find a more enduring funding module that would enable it to discharge its constitutional mandate. And the statement is signed by Reverend Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obeng, or Dr. Reverend Professor Emmanuel Ado-Obeng, Chairman, GBC Governing Board. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break now, but still ahead on the clashes between nomadic herdsmen and the host communities around the country. The Ashanti Region Security Council has vowed to flush out both the herdsmen and their cattle, as directed by a 2012 Kumasi High Court ruling.
We are going to apply the law. Once the court has given ruling, the ruling is contempt of court, and I am not going to accept any contempt of court case.
But the nomadic herdsmen say the violent attacks on them would do little to end the impasse. We're taking a break. We'll have all those stories coming up thereafter. Stay tuned. Government's claim to have resolved the difficulties confronting implementation of its flagship free SHS policy was challenged on Wednesday during a tour of some schools in Accra by the Deputy Minister of Education. Most of the schools visited complained of inadequate infrastructure and logistics. Dr. Yao Osei Educhum subsequently asked heads of the various schools to write to his ministry with details of their challenges so they could be addressed. Nancy Emefa Chiradozi has more.
The issue of inadequate infrastructure to accommodate the fresh entrants admitted under government free SHS program were amongst the numerous complaints made by the school heads at the beginning of the academic year. It's been some 3 months since, and though government had indicated the issues had been addressed, the school heads complained they are still grappling with some issues.
Our home science students are also suffering. We don't have enough and staff accommodation. We don't have enough teachers on compound to supervise. It's also a challenge.
They have already built a boarding house for us, but it has been converted into a classroom. We want it to be reconverted to a boarding house so we can have a sizable number of the students beginning with that as a foundation. The others will get, hooked onto it. And we need about 400 desks. And at the moment, our students are sitting on, those 400 students are sitting on plastic chairs, so to speak. Dr.
Yao Osei Educhum assured the school heads government will take up the issues.
The basic school area has a lot of challenges, and we're going to have to make sure that we can turn it around together with the senior high school. I think we have embarked on a major reform at the senior high school level, but we have to create a pipeline from KG to senior high school, and that pipeline can be worked out when we look at the challenges and the bottlenecks in terms of facilities, in terms of textbooks, in terms of teaching.
The Deputy Minister's tour took him to the Morning Star School, one of Accra's most prestigious private schools, where he was impressed with the teaching and learning environment and mentioned plans to collaborate with some of the private schools to enhance professional development of public school teachers.
So I want to incorporate the idea of professional development where we partner with the private sector and begin to look at the private sector best practices. So instead of sending my public school teachers to England to learn or to London to learn, I can send them to Morning Star to just go and look at what they are doing. That is 21st century.
He expressed disappointment that pupils and students of schools he visited were not in class and promised to liaise with the Director General of the Ghana Education Service to bring out policies to improve attendance. He also indicated government has plans to introduce an initiative that would motivate teachers.
Of course, children are the same everywhere. But we need to find a better way of dealing with our public schools. We visited some schools where children did not come to school, essentially. And I'm going to be working with the Director General of Ghana Education Service to ensure that we put in measures that leads to increased attendance in our schools, especially those schools in urban areas and rural areas. Sometimes we think attendance is only around the rural areas, but now we're also seeing it in places that we visited. So we're going to work together to ensure that we can reverse this trend and get the children in school.
The Deputy Minister also noted that his ministry, the Ghana Health Service and the Ghana Education Service are working together to ensure that the cases of H1N1 influenza at Kumaka does not recur in the future.
The Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei has assured the people of Agogo of the Regional Security Council's preparedness to flush out cattle and nomadic herdsmen in the area. Simon Osei says RECSEC will implement the ruling of a 2012 Kumasi High Court, which called for the mandatory removal of cattle from Agogo. He gave the assurance at a stakeholder meeting organized under the auspices of the Regional Security Council at Agogo. Ohiming Tewe's report.
The meeting follows renewed nomadic herdsmen-led attacks in Agogo. 3 military officers and a policeman were wounded after armed herdsmen opened fire on members of the Operation Cowleg team who were responding to a distress call from a woman over the destruction of her farm by cattle. Mr. Osei Mensah told a stakeholder meeting organized at the instance of the Regional Security Council he will implement the High Court ruling to the latter to avoid being cited for contempt of court.
We are going to do everything possible within the law to protect the people. This period is the beginning of the farming season, and this is the time they are clearing the land. If we delay and they are unable to clear the land around this time, it means it's going to affect farming activities and agricultural activities within this enclave. We are going to apply the law. Once the court has given the ruling is contempt of court, and I am not going to accept any contempt of court case. So we are going to apply the law.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Asante Achim North, Andy Apia Kubi, is happy at the assurance by the regional minister. Mr. Apia Kubi, who is also Deputy Minister for Railway Development, says the community will monitor keenly how the RECSEC implement the roadmap leading to the evacuation of the herdsmen and their cattle.
The minister is under compulsion to perform because the order of the court is not an advice. It's an order that is directed at him. And if he fails to comply with the order, we would be in a position to cite whoever is failing for contempt of court.
Well, nomadic herdsmen in Agogo are accusing the military of using extraordinary means to evict them, citing amongst others the shooting of their cattle. Over 50 cattle have reportedly been shot by military personnel deployed by the District Security Committee, and the herdsmen say killing what they describe as defenseless animals will do little to end the impasse. The recent attack on security officers detailed to attend to a distress situation at Agogo is believed to have been reprisals for the shooting of cattle owned by the herdsmen. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin has more.
This is exactly where some of the cattle were allegedly shot and killed by some military officers. You can see the carcasses around. But the question is, how long will the destruction of crops and killing of animals and even human beings continue, and how short will it end?
Before we can coexist on this same land, there should be a confinement. The cattle owners should put their animal in a corral so that they will not go out to destroy other people's farm. And I can tell you that not a single day that about 10 to 15 people will not come to my office to complain about destruction of their farms by these cattle.
There's no any case of destruction or farm destruction anywhere. Or there's no any conflict, let's say, between the farm, the cattle rearers and maybe the crop farmers. I've not heard of anything.
In recent time, I've not heard of anything like that.
Over 50 cattle have been shot by military on patrol in Agogo town and its environs. Residents accuse the herdsmen of destroying farms, among other alleged criminal acts. The action has prompted protests from the herdsmen who accuse the military of using extraordinary means to evict them.
Are you not his people too? We are his people too. There is cow business going on in Agogo. We have butchers here. We have, let's say, the Abuboya riders. They get employed out of this. Every day you sell a cow, 1 or 2, they go, they bring it, they take their money. The butchers will also slaughter this. They sell the meat. They hire people to work on the meat. They also pay them. So it's also a source of employment. So if it is about livelihood, we also serve a very important role here. I don't think we are destroying somebody's livelihood. It is not like that. When there's a problem, you just look out for a better solution.
We are not killing the animals for their killing sake, but we are trying to flush them out. But when we see there are some few killings, it happens because some of the animals try to attack the soldiers. And when they attack them, you see the police can command the animals or the cattle to attack the soldiers. And in such a situation, the will not sit down for, military, they will not sit down for this animal to crash on them. So as a military man, he will definitely open fire.
It is never true. You see, these animals are not used to people, crowd. You have one person taking care of 100 cows. You understand? So when they see people like that, they stand and then look at the people. You understand? So if you try to maybe do something, they try to run. But sometimes when they hear the gunshot, they run to hear or to see what is happening. Not that they are coming to attack them. You understand? They try to see what is happening before they take another turn to run away. So in doing that, they think that the animals are coming to attack them, and it is not like that. Even where do you find the person who takes care of the animals? Because you yourself, you are afraid of the military. How do you command the animals to attack them? Well, you see the military people, you also run away. So how do you command the animals to attack them?
Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin reporting.
Minister of the Interior Ambrose Derry says his outfit is working with the security agencies to identify and thoroughly screen foreign nationals resident in Ghana on the legitimacy of their stay. It says those found to be residing unlawfully will be repatriated to their home countries. The Interior Minister also warned the authorities will be on the lookout for foreigners in possession of illicit weapons as part of efforts to check proliferation of arms in the country and the sub-region. In an interview with Joy News, Mr. Derry also announced Ghana has for the first time opened its borders 24 hours a day, a departure from the previous situation where the border was open for only 12 hours each day.
We are going to enhance the participation and the effectiveness of the security forces going forward. And that is owed to the commitment and the support that we enjoy from Mr. President, especially that, if you talk about 200 vehicles in December, with motorbikes coming on board. We're expecting some more vehicles by the end of this month, and other equipment. So moving forward, we expect the police and the other security forces to up their game.
The logistics that are coming in.
The logistics that are coming in.
Do we have an idea as to how many of these headsmen out there have access to guns?
Well, we will not know the exact one. One of the things we need to do, and Ghana Immigration Service is doing, is that we're beginning to get people who are not Ghanaian and are in the country. We're beginning to check them to find out their presence here, if they have the requisite permits to be here. And in doing so, we'll also be checking to see what they have that they shouldn't have. And I think that positively actions have been taken in the Western region. And in those cases, there have been some repatriation of people outside this country. We're going to continue that. So it's going to be a collaborative effort, I would say again, of all the security agencies, police, soldiers, immigration, security aspects, National Peace Council, and each individual Ghanaian citizen. And of course, you, the media, to help us in educating our people.
Shouldn't we be looking at dealing with the porous borders instead?
Yes, the porous borders have been dealt with. That's what I'm saying. The law was passed to make the immigration services the custodians of the borders in late 2016. And as I speak to you, I can assure you that there's logistic mobilization to make sure that they are given the requisite support to do their work. Let me also emphasize that Mr. President, for the first time, has opened our borders 24 hours. It used to be 12 hours on all sides, but in consonance with the ECOWAS protocol and to facilitate the free movement of goods and services, he has brought that. That is because he wants to promote economic activity, but in doing so, it comes with this increased responsibility.
Exactly. Wouldn't that allow for these individuals to move in freely and perpetrate crime?
No, it's a whole package. He's working hard. He's gone round our neighbors, and we're working on arrangements between us and our neighbors, collaborative efforts put in place to make sure that we collectively man our common borders. And therefore, yes, he's opened it, but it's also coming with increased vigilance.
The Accra Region Police Command is investigating 6 cases of police officers alleged to have been complicit in the activities of land guards in the capital. According to DCOP George Alex Mensah, the ongoing investigations have become necessary to clamp down on the land guard menace following reports indicting personnel in communities where these activities are rife. Matilda Vomega has more.
Residents in developing communities such as Oshie, Damfa, Waja, Tuba and Botiano have suffered different forms of abuse in the hands of land guards. Properties running into millions of cedis have been lost, and some have had to pay with their lives. A joint police task force was launched late last year to deal with the menace. Soon afterwards came concerns and accusations that some police personnel are offering protection to these land guards. But Commander for the Accra Region Police, DCOP George Alex Mensah, is taking none of that. He is at the moment investigating 6 of such cases.
Of course, we've received reports of men are being compromised, and all these reports are being investigated. Sometimes you find out that it's not that they are being compromised. People are not patient. They lodge the complaint today, and by the next day they want to see results. But investigations takes a lot of time. Some of us are not conversant with the police procedures. So once you tell the person, bring your documents, the man is also saying that the land is for him. I'll come up with a figure, but I've had a lot of reports, maybe 5, 6, or reaching complaints about officers delaying. That's what they complain of. They are delaying the investigations, and they think that they have been compromised. Yes, we have also received that kind of information, that some officers are protecting others. You know, most of these complaints come because you have 2 groups fighting over one specific area. And one of them will come and tell you, your officer there is protecting this other group. You call for the docket, you find out, and you see that what the officer is doing is just doing what he's supposed to do. But because it's not going in favor of the other party, he thinks the officer has taken sides. For now, we have not seen anybody who has compromised his position.
On the recent upsurge in mobile money robberies, DCOP Alex Mensah called for an urgent collaboration between the police and telecommunication companies to map up strategies to deal with such cases.
Now, at every corner, everywhere, regardless of whether the place is safe or not, people are opening mobile phone, mobile money vendors, selling all manner of things without looking at nothing. They don't take license from anybody, but they deal in money, whether the place is safe or not. And they are springing up day in and out. It's very difficult for police to track where these people are. These people are dealing in money. Some will be holding a lot, about 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 cash in the night. And they don't register with anybody. They don't tell anybody where they are. They just open up. And they are just cash cows for armed robbers. Maybe we all need to sit down and look at these mobile MTN money vendors. Need to be that collaborations.
The police is also looking at ways to improve and re-strategize visibility in communities. For Joy News, Matilda Pamaga, Accra.
The NDC flag bearer hopeful Ekosfield Gabra has questioned the ability of the current executive of the party to lead it to victory in the 2020 elections. The opposition party is expected to conduct internal elections sometime this year and elect a flag bearer who will lead them into the 2020 elections before the end of the year. Speaking on Upfront a while ago, the former Trade and Industry Minister, who is seeking to join the flag bearer race, also criticized the decision by the current executive to hold on to the Kwesi Botche report that investigated the NDC's massive defeat in the 2016 election.
There are many who have given indication that they will not be running again. There are many people who will try to run, but in different positions. Others may try to run in their current position and may lose. So it's up to the electorate to determine how that works out. But a significant reorganization of the party is required from branch level all the way to the top. And that's why we've begun that very process as we speak.
Can the NDC win the election with former President Mahama as its leader?
It depends on the circumstances under which that can happen. I wouldn't say there can be only one particular leader for the NDC, or no NDC leader can win an election. Several different NDC leaders may or could win an election. As to whether they win it easily or with difficulty, that's yet to be seen.
In the case of former President Mahama, can he lead that particular...
He will have to answer that question. I mean, you're always putting me in the position of speaking for other people.
No, I'm actually getting
I'm saying anybody. I've answered your question by telling you that there are several different people, including myself, who could all win an NDC election against the MPP, depending, and that's the bottom line, depending on numerous factors.
Can the NDC win
their capacity to rebrand themselves if we need rebranding.
Okay.
So as I sit here, for example, there are people who are advising me on things I may do differently. Even my hands, I'm told I gesticulate a lot. So if I can hold my hands and not gesticulate a lot, maybe it might help me.
That's interesting to note in this particular case.
Yeah, but I'm rebranding myself.
Can the NDC, and
others may have to rebrand themselves if they tend to be candidates.
Can the NDC win 2020 without the active participation of former President George Rawlings?
I don't think the NDC can win any election without the active participation of all its members. All its members. And of course, President Rawlings is a very important member. He's the fan of the party. He has a great following. President John Mahama is a very important member of the party.
Now, the Electoral Commission says it is probing some of its officers who were allegedly caught on video demanding unofficial payment for the replacement of voter ID cards. The cost of replacement of such cards is 5 cedis. But a Joy News CDD Ghana project dubbed Corruption Watch revealed how electoral officers at the Kaswa office of the EC demand between 30 to 50 cedis from applicants seeking to replace their cards. Head of Communications at the EC, Eric Jakpasu, joins me over the telephone. Mr. Jakpasu, thank you for making time. How is the Commission taking this latest corruption allegation?
Hello?
Yes, I'm asking, how is the Commission taking these latest accusations?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Jakpasu. If you can hear me, I'm asking how the Commission is responding to this corruption allegation.
Oh, thank you very much. Let me say, yes, the allegation with some staff caught on tape demanding some extra money from people to issue them replace ID cards has come to the notice of the Commission. And the Commission has instituted measures to investigate, identify the culprits on tape and then investigate and then come out with the appropriate conclusions and sanctions for those who will be caught culpable.
Have you been able to establish how widespread this is or if it's just restricted to this community?
For now, for what we know and the evidence that we have, I think this is an isolated case happening in some part of the central region, specifically at the Kaswa District Office of the Commission. We are yet to have any information of such incidents at any other place of the Commission.
But these investigations you have commissioned, is it going to look at other areas?
Yeah, I think we would have to expand the scope. We have to open up and find out whether it is widespread. We can't rule out that possibility, but we'll open up and then find out how far it's gone so as we can appropriately nip it in the bud.
And how soon can we expect any report on this investigation?
I can put a time frame on it because as we speak, we are on recess and we'll be resuming on a Monday, the 15th, after which we'll follow up and whatever commission has come out with the official position, I'll definitely put it in the public domain.
When you say you're on recess, you mean you're not back from the Christmas break yet?
Yeah, we'll be going back on the 15th of January.
Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you very much. You are.
That was Eric Kofi Jakpasu with the Electoral Commission. Some residents of Tuba near Botiano are accusing Joseph Yani, MC of Gasouth, of conniving with Langas to unleash terror on them. They want him removed from office and a thorough investigation sanctioned by the presidency. The MPP polling station chairman for the area is leading the charge to get the MC removed. The municipal chief executive has, however, denied the allegation, calling on the president to dismiss him from office if indeed he's found to be in bed with the land guards. Maxwell Agbagba has more on this report.
The land that he put the house on was a land that belongs to a lady. Yes, and the land guards cleared the lady's structure on the land and they put his...
Voice of Nene Abbas Hago showing me a picture of what he says is a mansion being put up by the MCE Joseph Nyani. Abbas alleges the MCE with some land guards cleared the land which already had another structure at the time.
The commander, the captain of the land guards, his name is Amafit.
Nene Abbas Hago wants President Akufo-Addo to remove the Gasouth Municipal Chief Executive Joseph Nyani from office, claiming he will continue to protect land guards who go about unleashing terror on the residents for as long as he remains MCE.
Yes. The land guards themselves were selling people's land and the school project land, and they were using the proceedings of the land, of the money that they got from the land to facilitate a house for the MCE. So because of that, if you go to the MCE and tell him, oh, MCE, Mr. MCE, you are the chief security of the municipality, and this is what the land guards are doing, he didn't do any action. The only thing he tells you is that if you want to fight the land guards, take them to court. For which he knows very well that it will be difficult for you to take this matter to court. We want the government to investigate this matter, and if possible, fire the MCE and bring an MCE who will come and promote, the ideas and inspirations of the government. That's what we are saying. He is supporting the land guards. Of the land guard operations. If you tell him anything, he's not. There is one day we went to the divisional commander, and we report the issues of the land guards to him. What Mr. Ahin, the divisional commander, told us is that they are waiting for the MCE to tell them to stop the land guard operations. One of friend is not here. You can ask him. The divisional commander said, we are waiting for the instructions from the MCE. You understand? And even when those guys were arrested and bullets and guns were retrieved from them, they allowed them to go.
I've now met Alhaji Suraj. He's a civil engineer who resides in the area. Some land guards recently attacked some workers on a land he's developing.
The Ministry of Agriculture is assuring the country will experience minimal or no effects from fall armyworms in 2018. The pest invaded more than 100,000 hectares of farm fields across all 10 regions, affecting crop yield. The ministry on Wednesday took delivery of some equipment from the Food and Agriculture Organization to help it prepare against future attacks by the pest. And Minister of State, Dr. Noura Jile, says they are more prepared this year than they were last year.
I will say this is what we have just witnessed, that we are preparing and we're serious about it, that will not allow it to come and surprise us like in 2017. In 2017, we're taken by surprise. Not by surprise because it was fall armyworm. We've always had armyworm, even for decades. But last year's one, we're taken by surprise because when we came in as a new government, there were no strategic stocks that were put in place waiting for these kind of things.
Meaning the previous administration didn't help matters with how they managed it?
No, because normally for the Plant Protection and Regulatory Services Directorate, there is a provision that one makes for the budget every year to stock some chemicals. If the armyworm doesn't come, those chemicals are there.
But you didn't see that in 2016 going into 2017?
There was nothing. So when the incident was reported, that was why we had to prepare a memo to Cabinet asking for them to release some funds from the...
In time now for a quick look at our top stories here on Joy News Prime. Ghana Broadcasting Corporation Board has backed down on a campaign to jail TV license defaulters and urged the National Media Commission to lead discussions on sustainable funding of the state broadcaster. Accra Region Police investigates 6 cases of police officers said to be complicit in land guard activities. Deputy Education Minister confronted with fresh complaints of inadequate infrastructure and other challenges bedeviling government's flagship free SHS initiative, despite claims they had been addressed. Ghanaians are generally satisfied with the performance of President Akufo-Addo's administration, according to a survey conducted by the University of Ghana Political Science Department. The survey also named former President John Mahama as favorite in the NDC flag bearer race. In business, CEO of Ghana Investment Promotion Center confirms international oil exploration giant ExxonMobil will sign a petroleum agreement with the GNPC to explore oil and gas in the deep water Cape 3 Points.